Welcome into this week's edition of the RedHawk Hoops Report. Luke West Poley joined by the head coach of the Miami women's basketball program, Glenn Box. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. You doing okay?
Yes, sir. So diving in, you guys had the extended break. You guys were in action yesterday afternoon down in Bowling Green, Kentucky, against WKU. Again, a team that you saw last season and a team that's pretty good. Slower start for you guys in this game. You kind of clawed back, made it close by half, and Western Kentucky kind of pulled away again at the end of that third quarter. So, what were kind of your overall thoughts on the game?
The obvious, we didn't take care of the ball. I felt like we were really sloppy with the basketball. I'm just trying to give our group a lot of grace right now. There's a lot of things that they haven't seen yet. They have their growing pains, and we kind of got to work our way through it. I know we're fully capable. I think we had some ridiculous number, like 22 turnovers at the half, and the second half we had like three. So we're fully capable of playing at a high level. It's just putting it all together. I think it's the mark of a immature ball club right now, and it's just part of being young and not really being together. And that group is seasoned like that. That was a good team, and our kids showed some resilience. They fought, which was good to see our fight. But I feel like when we got back in it, we had slippage again in the third quarter, which, they fully took advantage of. They hit a bunch of threes, and I think they were like 8 for 8, some crazy number. And they had a couple kids who matched or exceeded their 3-point total numbers for the year. And, it was a bad combination of things that ended in our demise. So a lot to learn, a lot to take from. We've been working on it today, our staff, trying to figure some things out, and we're moving, I think, in the right direction.
Angelina Gonzalez led you guys with
Mhm.
22. Amber had 17. Obviously, you like to see, I'm sure, the heavy offensive production out of those two, but kind of looking further down the score sheet, no one else with more than four. What did you notice that kind of contributed to the lack of depth scoring that you guys have had in some of the other games?
Yeah, we have to definitely credit, Ange and Amber. They did their part, to shoulder the load offensively yesterday. I just um, felt like the turnovers got us sideways. We were just not ourselves. We were trying to we were trying to find ourselves, rediscover ourselves individually. I felt like throughout the game, some of our kids were shaken with their confidence a little bit. And so it impacted their play. You have to give credit to Western Kentucky. I think our kids were rattled. And I thought that it took us a while before we kind of got our feet under us. But, obviously Amber and shouldered the load and, but we need more production from other people. And we'll have to find a way to make that happen.
You're in the middle of certainly, at least in your non-conference slate, probably the toughest stretch of games with the Western Kentucky game, who, they remain undefeated. You've got Dayton coming up later this week, and then you've got Purdue at home coming up in a couple weeks' time. What can you take away, I guess, from this past game and playing a tough opponent and just making sure that, like you said, your team is confident going into these games?
I will say this, our kids are it's a work in progress. You look at our roster, we are young. And so like this is our first time going through some things. And to beat good teams on the road, you gotta play a much more cleaner brand of basketball. And there were possessions in that game that that impacted us negatively, from just finishing some defensive possessions with fouls that we shouldn't have fouled, to just silly turnovers, that you just cannot have on the road. You know, Moving to the offensive end, simple lack of execution in transition a couple times, lack of execution on the offensive end, lack of execution on our driving space, and so when you want to be good, you don't have those hiccups. There were 9 times in the first half and just in open in broken plays where we weren't in spots where we should have been in spots 9 times, and so good teams don't have those. Like you don't have those. And so like right now we have to learn like if we want to play good basketball and win on the road, we got to minimize those situations. And it's just it's part of learning. Sometimes it's frustrating, but sometimes you just got to take it. And we're taking it right now. So
Speaking of playing on the road, you guys are going to UD Arena, which is a notoriously difficult place to play coming up later this week against a Dayton team that, they gave up 38 yesterday, and they've shown their ability to defend in wins. So what's kind of the plan of attack headed into Thursday against a pretty good Dayton team?
I can't say that on this. Good question, but I can't say that on this. So, our thing right now is we need to do what we do it better, do it at a more elite level. I certainly think that we are still a work in progress. And so there are things that we're trying and we haven't tried, things that we haven't tried that we're going to try. And sometimes you just kind of mix it up. The key to all of this is being able to maximize our kids. And so we're trying to maximize our kids. We're trying to get the most out of each one of our kids. And when they're performing at an optimal level, I think that it certainly increases our chances. And so we've got to do a better job of finding what makes them tick. On the other side, defensively, we had too many mindless moments, that cost us, where we lost focus and we didn't play with a great deal of discipline. And, we got to we got to stay true to our identity and simply be better in what we were. And so I expect us to do what we do, but do it better. But I expect some wrinkles.
You went from having over a week to prepare for that Western Kentucky game to now just having a few days, right, in between
Mhm.
Western Kentucky and now Dayton coming up. So, what are you guys keying on now with just, 3 days of practice in between the two games?
Well, this is normal prep time. Like when we get into conference, this is normal for us. We'll normally like after we'll take a day off and then we'll go 2 days. But like in regards to the Western Kentucky game, like fully thought we were prepared. But at the same time, and as a matter of fact, I know we were prepared. We just didn't execute, and it's part of learning, it's part of understanding. Like there has to be carryover. And I thought that we practiced well. I thought that we were ready, and clearly we were not. And so, let it be a wake up call to our kids that we have to have carryover. You can't be as sloppy as we were to expect to win. We had 22 turnovers in a half. We had 7 missed layups in the same, and we were only down 9. And had Tamar not thrown the ball away on the last possession, we chance we'd be down 5-4, and so you got to maximize every opportunity. And I felt like there were many opportunities we did not. And then the wheels came off, and we weren't able to get it back. So we intend to grow from it.
Going back to your SLU days, right? You coach. How many times have you coached at UD Arena before?
Uh, 4+1 at Akron, I think. At Akron when I was at Akron. So I think
Okay.
I've been there. I think I've been there like 5 times. And
Okay.
it is a tough place to play. It is a tough place to play. But I do think most of this is about us. Like I truly believe it. Like if we handle our business and play the way we're capable, I do believe in our team. I believe that we have a high ceiling. But a lot of this is just finding like there's 1,000 ways to win, and it's just simply finding the right way for us to win. And so, that's the chore that our staff has right now, and that's why they pay us, to figure it out. We're in the process of figuring it out. We'll figure it out.
At the very least, you got to get a lot of players at least some spot minutes, and you got, a pretty good amount of playing time out of most of your roster on Sunday. And that's kind of been a theme throughout this non-conference slate. And I know that, coaches can tend to be a little more liberal with their bench usage before you get into conference play because you want to get that experience, right? But how do you think that, um, things have gone in that regard, I guess, with just kind of getting players the minutes and getting them the time on the floor to kind of get them experiences before the games really start picking up in MAC play?
I think I think every time a kid hits the floor, they're meaningful minutes, and so they're valuable. It's an opportunity to gather experience. My hope, though, is that we know who we're rocking with, from game to game. And right now, we're kind of all over the place because of a lack of inconsistency, and our kids are trying really hard to be consistent. But we need to be more consistent in practice. I'd much rather know who's gonna be playing from game to game. And so at some point down the road, there's just gonna be a decision that's made as far as who's gonna be playing. And right now we're trying to give everybody every chance to play themselves into the mix. And so to answer your question, I'm not real happy about that actually, after giving it real thought. Like I want to know who we're playing, who's going to play. That eliminates some choices that you got to make and wondering who's going to do what from game to game. I'm ready to rock with who we have. So I
All right,
only really want to play 8 to 9 kids tops. The days of playing 10, 11, 12, that's not ideal for me.
certainly.
Mhm.
All right. Well, appreciated, Coach. Miami women's team is in action on Thursday against the Dayton Flyers. That game will be on ESPN Plus, Miami Radio Network, and RedHawk Radio on the road up at UD Arena. And they'll next be in action after another lengthy break, 12 days separating the next couple of games. Dayton followed by Purdue at home coming up on December 17th. Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck on Thursday.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Luke.
Thanks.